Welcome to the show, DK.
Hey Kelly, how you doing? Nice to be here.
It's so awesome and to be able to talk to you because I hardly can get to talk to somebody a little bit like me, do a lot of crazy sales stuff before, like direct sale, the knock the door, that type of things.
Yeah, I've done door-to-door sales. I've done phone sales. I've sold remotely online, in person, you name it, at a marketplace. I have sold water. I've sold software. I sold a lot of things.
Yeah. And but I think it's those, the real life experience and make us to when we talk about sales, we have a little bit more substance, I would say. And in the introduction, I already shared with the audience and later on the YouTube visitors to talk about how great you are. But we always want to hear from yourself. That can you share a little bit about your journey up till now and how now did you get to do this awesome thing about the new school of selling?
Yeah, I mean, the journey is definitely a long one. Definitely a lot of trial and error. Me now being a sales consultant and trainer, I've always been good at sales. But it's always one of those things you look at it in sports too. When someone's really good at their athlete profession, right? Whether it's NBA, NFL, soccer, does that really translate into actually coaching, right? Because like a lot of those guys, they get old and they get tired of it, and then they want to get to that next level. Let's say coaching, but there's a different skill set that you need from being a sales professional and then coaching someone to be a sales professional. And I think I was figuring that out during my whole process, because once you become a top sales performer in any business or job, what does a company want you to do? They want you to manage other salespeople to do just like you. And you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, I should do that. But it's a whole different skill set of leadership skill set, management skill set to then translate what you know into somebody else. And I think in the beginning, when someone did ask me, I was at a software company back in 2010, was a top performer. And they're like, I was like kind of getting bored about selling because I was doing the same thing over again. I was making great money, but I wasn't being challenged. And so they're like, well, why don't you become the sales manager and you can recruit salespeople and make them just like you? And I thought, okay, that's probably my, where am I going to go next? Right. So I did that. But I realized, oh my gosh, I'm not good at managing salespeople. And I realized how hard it was for someone to manage me. Right. So I think, just to give you a short story of my sales process, I've always been someone who loves to talk to people. And it comes from my childhood of coming with really strict parents. I was in a Christian family, but it was super strict, almost borderline the church was like a cult. And so we had a lot of rules. And so I was always feeling trapped. And I always had to feel like I had to ask my parents for things that other kids didn't have to ask for. And so I had to develop this skill of creating these deals with my parents. And so it's like, okay, what if I clean the house? Can I go and watch a movie with Alex? Like I had to ask for really dumb things like play basketball or watch a movie or sleep over a friend's house. I had to make these deals. And so that's where my salesmanship kind of started, just from me wanting freedom. And then my parents were like, man, you're really good at this. You're probably going to be a car salesman one day. And I was like, I don't want to be a car salesman, but it looks kind of fun, right? And so that just entered into me getting into sales because I didn't like school. And I know that in school, they weren't teaching you sales. They teach you business principles, but don't teach you sales. And so when I was 19 years old, I got into this really simple sales job, which is door-to-door sales. And I was selling small business services. So we were selling water, like the 5-gallon water jugs. We were selling office supplies. We were selling shipping. And I went door to door. So I hit like 50 doors a day. And that was really painful, but at the same time, the best learning experience on how to talk to people, how to build rapport with people, how to build connection in a very short amount of time, right? And also to understand when some people are not interested and not be pushy about it, but just go to the next person, because not everyone wants to buy water today, right? I'm not trying to get everyone to say yes to me. I'm trying to get, let's say, 10% of the people to say yes to me. So if I hit 50 doors, I'm trying to get 5 people to say yes, right? And so then that obviously translated for me to be confident in my sales skills. And then I started getting recruited by other companies. Like this mortgage officer recruited me and he's like, you'd be really good on the phone. You don't have to go door to door anymore. So I got my license. And then after that, my buddy was like, hey, you should do software sales because it's actually a lot better. It's in tech. It's more cooler. The companies are cooler, like Google and stuff. So I got recruited there. And then after that, I got recruited to another company called Boomtown, which is where I spent most of my software sales experience. Sold over $8 million of software sales in about 5 years. And then that's where I told you that story about jumping to sales management. And that wasn't for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So because I didn't do that, I went on my own, right? And then I started becoming that entrepreneur journey of doing so I was trying to build a marketing funnel for real estate agents. It's called Webinars for Closers, and build these webinar presentations for real estate agents to help them with their buyers and sellers and recruiting. And then that failed for a lot of different reasons. And as you know, with entrepreneur journey, you just keep on going. You keep on trying again. And fast forward to today, pandemic really made me launch New School of Selling. And the reason why is because I feel like sales has changed. It's always evolving. And I think today, more than ever, it's not the old school tactics that a lot of people think it is. Now, some of them still work, but I think a lot of the entrepreneurs today, they don't have that same personality type to then give those type of tactics and strategies that work for some personalities, but others they don't. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think just listen to your journey. It proved one thing though. It is like almost like somebody put a banner just in front of me, like, as long you know how to sell, you won't get hungry.
Exactly.
Right? It's just listening to that, your journey, it doesn't matter that almost that any kind of industry put you into, as long you know how to sell. Right. You can not only survive, but you can thrive. Not to say you did not get to the bump sometimes, but yeah. And that's why it's so important. And I was kind of laughing, like you said you had to convince, you had to sell to your parents in order to get what you want to do. I was thinking, here is like opposite, right? I'm a parent. I have to try to sell to my kids that if you do this, maybe then we can get to that. It's like this is a constant the skill set, really. So I love what you say about the old school and new school, right? But can you kind of elaborate a little bit more about what is the difference?
Yeah. So I say it in my website, newschoolselling.com, but the old school is about winning or losing, right? And the new school of selling is about innovating and serving. And so it's from the book, it's called The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, and basically talks about 2 types of game theory. And so one game theory is about, okay, we're going to play and someone's going to win and someone's going to lose every single time. And that's a finite game. And then there's the infinite game where there's 2 players. They both know that they're going to keep playing and they're not going to be winning or losing. It's all going to be the game that keeps on going and keeps on playing. And so in that game, you have to understand it's always evolving. It's always changing. So it's all about innovating and serving. Just like, what we're going through today with the pandemic and all that, there's people in business that have played the finite game and they realized I lost and they gave up. And there's companies that have played the infinite game where they continue to evolve and they continue to go through this difficult time and start innovating a lot more in their business than they did because they had to, right? And so for me, that's what sales is, because it continues to evolve. And the old school, I think a lot of people, just because they don't want change and because they think, okay, we're just going to hold on to these old school principles as long as we can, which is great. But those who actually understand buyers today, how they buy online and what type of way they like to buy and what type of relationship they like to build when they buy, it's more collaborative versus it's more this win-lose. So if I don't, get this sale, then I lose, right? Or the buyer loses. It's not that type of mindset. It's really about continuing to just find the people that you can help and serve today. And if you can't, maybe later. And if not, still build the brand to continue to innovate.
I love that. And that brings up a question we got asked all the time, that how can you stay comfortable when you ask for sales? Now, the context probably is, for example, a lot of service providers or coaches and consultants, right? So they have these one-on-one situation with the clients. They kind of answer all the questions and then about to kind of shift to where, well, what do we do next? And some people feel so awkward to transit from answering question to now ask for sales. Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah. So one thing that I talk about in the sales process, like what is the primary goal of your sales process, of taking someone, a customer through your sales process? And there's two goals. Number one is build trust, right? Because if they don't trust you, they're not going to buy from you, right? So you have to build that rapport and that trust with the person, which I think in your question, they have done that, right? They asked the questions, they built the rapport, they feel like they built the trust. But then they get nervous when they're asking for the sale because there's a second part, which is you have to build certainty. You have to be certain enough to know that their problem and your solution matches. And you have to tell them so. Now, don't tell them about the price. Tell them about the certainty of how you're going to fix their problem. And what they're going to ask you is this: oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wanted. What's the next step? They're going to ask you. They're going to ask you, so how much does this cost? Because they see the value. And now they're curious about, okay, what is it going to cost me? And then you go into, well, I'm glad you asked. And that's where the transition happens. But don't ask for the sale. Don't be salesy in terms of, oh, you should do this for me, or I think this is a good idea. No, be certain. They're buying certainty from you, right? Number one, they're buying a relationship. Number two, they're buying magic, which is what you have to fix their problem. What is your magic? And if you don't believe you have magic, then you're going to have to rethink your product or your service.
Oh, that's so good. Now, since we're on that topic, another frequent asked question is, okay, DK, now I told them the price and they told me that, oh, I cannot afford it. So what is the next we should do?
So obviously, when they say they can't afford it, that kind of question, number one, should be addressed in the discovery or the finding fit of knowing that they have the budget or not, right? So that's the first part I would say you have to work on, is you have to find the right person that has the budget and ask those questions before you get to the solution part of it. And that's number one. Now, if you miss that and now you guys are talking about, I can't afford it and making excuses, then there's a couple things happening here. Number one, they don't really believe you can fix their problem, right? That's number one. So you haven't done a good job of creating that certainty. Or number two, they do believe you can fix the problem, but the cost is too high for the value. So their pain is not that great. So you haven't really dug into what is the real pain here that I'm trying to solve. Do they actually even know their pain? What's the cost of not doing this, of not solving this problem? And so you don't even know that. You should know that critical event. So if you don't solve this problem today, what is it going to cost you? Is it going to cost you more than what you're going to pay me to solve the problem? That actually is going to give you more opportunity to do other things. And so that's all inside of probing and like their problem, their pain, and really getting deeper into it, because there is something in there that's not right. If you go all the way through that and then they say they can't afford it, there's something missing there.
Yeah, so that is so good. I know I can't put him on the spot, but I purposely asked that question because ideally, those things, just like DK say, it should be the filters before that conversation happen. So then, you won't face this kind of situation. The other thing is, what would you say that when people say, what is the difference between we appear to really sell and serve or sell for profit?
Yeah, so you can tell with I call this commission breath, right? When you can see someone who has commission breath or
commission
sense
breath.
because all they want is to close you. They want that sale. So they're always talking about lower cost, discount, anything for you to sign on the bottom line versus someone selling for value, right? And saying, hey, we're going to give you this. We're going to do this for you. We're going to do this for you. And it's building the value of your product or service versus cutting down on the price. Also, clients that you want to work with, be careful. If they're always talking about price with you and not value, you're going to have a headache client because everything's going to be nickel and diming and everything is going to be about the price versus the value of what this is going to do for you. And so that mindset you have to be aware of, right? So don't get a lot of clients that are always about price. Get clients that are about value. And inside your sales process, ask the questions to know what type of client you have.
Now I'm going to ask a wild card question. Salesmanship, right? And biblical principle. Did you answer that question? Meaning, what do you see the relation between the two?
So you're asking me salesmanship and what? Biblical
and
principles?
Anything about biblical principle that in the Bible is anything that you see is to prove that the salesmanship, for me personally, salesmanship is like leadership because we are leading our potential clients through the process and we can serve them. And for me, kingdom is all about people, people-based business. But I would really love to hear that from your mouth that talk about this, basically salesmanship, the relation with what we know inside the from the biblical principle perspective.
I think for me, it's really, I'm trying to figure out a character in the Bible that I think can really relate to this. Maybe it's Joseph, right? Someone who is super influential, right? Is someone who people respect and know that, wow, you give him a few things and he will grow it. He will be able to manage it, and then you give him many things. And so for me, I think it's finding out with salesmanship, it is influence, it is leadership, because the fact that, especially if you are a Christian or you have morals and you have values, you really care about people and you really care about finding ways to help them, right? Finding tools or resources. And so there's good salesmanship and there's bad salesmanship based on, is it for them or is it for you, right? Is it based on your commission or is it based on their impact and value that you're giving them that then gives you a reward, right? Because at the end of the day, we all do things for a reward, right? We're all here as Christians and we do things for God because there's a heavenly reward and there's already a reward that's there for us. And so I think for me, when I sell, I know that I'm not doing this just for myself to make a living, but I'm doing this so that I have the opportunity to build relationships, connect with people in different ways, not just selling my product or service, but knowing how this person is doing. What is their story? How is their business going to thrive? Seeing them grow, right? And I think leadership is a lot about that. It's about seeing people grow. It's about leading people to the right path. And I think salesmanship is one opportunity to do that, especially when we know that we always sell each other. Every single day, we sell each other everything. So.
Yeah, I love that. As I say, I put him on the spot, but he can answer so well because I often encourage my own clients. It's, the much larger scale transformation really only can happen after transaction, right? Let's say, okay, both DK and me, we have podcasts. By the way, we usually have to check his podcast, and we will put all the links in the show notes. That's one way we add value. But if somebody want to really learn about sales and further, that, podcast itself is not enough, then DK can really help you to another level when you sign up his school, right? And that is basically the example of why I mean the transformation really can only happen after transaction. Do you agree on that, DK?
Yeah, because you have to make that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make that transaction. You have to make that, I don't know, leap of faith,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, to move forward, to say, I'm going to do this, to shake that hand, to make that commitment to God, to yourself, to your family, whoever it is, make that transaction. Once you make that transaction, you said, I'm going to do it. Well, now you have something to do, which is, right?
Exactly.
Doing the thing that you say you're going to do at the end of the day.
And now I saw the example in the Bible. It's, remember when King David, he went to want to look for a piece of land to build our temple to worship. And he passed by and then he talked to the landowner. The landowner said, oh, you are king, go ahead, just take it. And he said, no. I need to pay for it. I need to pay for it, because if there's no investment, there's no harvest. And that is a biblical principle. And for both sides, it's great, because I need to invest in, so then I will not only be held accountable or what just DK moments ago say, but literally then I can have a right to say, okay, Lord, now I do my part. Now I'm counting also on you to co-create with me whatever the harvest is for. I also have many clients and audience, because they are coaches and consultants. So they grow their business, come to the point that they figure now they need to hire a sales team. They say they want to start with 1 or 2 salesperson, so themselves don't have to take that call anymore before the enrollment of their program. So what would you say, especially the high ticket coaching program, right? So what would you say, what kind of criteria or personality or, about that salesperson that we're looking for, what shall we pay attention to?
Yeah, before we look at the person per se, like individually, I think you have to understand, if you're going to hire a sales team, right? That's a very, very important piece of your business. It's probably one of the most important, because it's your revenue driver, right? Mm-hmm. And you're sending leads to this person. So number one question is, how long do you think they're going to be with you? Right? Now, that's very important, right? When you hire someone, you ask, hey, this is the commitment that this job needs, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, because you have to forecast, what you're going to be doing, right? So if you let go of that part of your business or your job, man, it better work. Because if it doesn't, you go right back to that job, right? Because there's 2 jobs you have as an entrepreneur: your expertise and sales. Because you have to have someone actually buy your expertise. If they don't buy your expertise, then you need to go work at Google or another company where they will buy that expertise, but they'll buy it because of the brand, right? And that's what you're building. Now, when you're looking for a salesperson, I would say it's someone that has that character of trust and reliability. Also, someone who knows how to follow a system, right? And so in order for you to do that, when you are vetting out sales professionals, one thing I know about being a sales professional is we're not very organized. We do a lot of activities, but we don't input them into the system. And we like to grab the low-hanging fruit, right? And so if you get us to nurture, we'll maybe call back a client maybe 4 or 5 times at most, and then we'll give up and we'll go to the next. And so I think you have to, develop some exercises inside of your interview process to see who this person really is in terms of an organizational standpoint. They might be a really good salesperson, but if you don't have enough value, like commission wise, or they don't like working with you because one reason or another, they're going to go somewhere else, right? Because they're really good at their skill set, right? They're going to go somewhere else. So you have to build a very good culture, but you also have to understand how organized and reliable they are. So what I would do is this, like, hey, this is the interview process. What I would like you to do is go on, create a YouTube video. All right. In the YouTube video, I would like you to answer these type of questions. And then after you create that video, I want you to put it in the Google Drive, and then you're going to send it to me. Like, give them those type of organizational exercises to see if they follow instructions to a T or not. That way you're not having to ask them the question, are you organized? Yeah, I'm organized. No, prove it to me, right? And so those type of things with salespeople is very important because you're going to think and assume, oh, this person's so great. He sold this many, blah, blah, blah. And then you get to work with this person. You're like, oh, this guy doesn't follow instructions. He's not organized. Everything's all over the place. And then you have to manage that person. And now you have another job. Now you're the sales manager and you're micromanaging. So there's a lot of different things. I know it is stressful and it is the most important like outsourcing you're going to do in your business. So if you have any questions about that, go to my website. You can text me and I can even help you even further.
Wow, thank you so much. And I think when you say that basically kind of a little bit, you touch about that process almost, you also want to see that person, whether they fit into your own brand culture.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Everybody has a system. But here's the thing. When you're an employee of a company, you're going into their system, right? You're understanding that. You have to have a system too. If you don't have a system for the person you're bringing on, it's your fault, right? Because you don't have a system for them to follow. So how can you expect them to do what you want them to do if you don't have that system in place? And then can they follow the system? Is the system going to make them successful? Because if you can't do that, then you can't hire more than one person because you have to keep working on that person. And then you can't hire another person because we all follow systems and models to scale. If you don't have a system and model, you cannot scale. Then you're stuck. Just like real estate agents, if they don't have systems and models, they're always just going to be that referral-based business. And they're going to be a realtor till they're 65 or 70 years old doing the same thing because they don't have a system. They just do it on their own, right? And they're okay with doing 1 or 2 deals a month. Yeah, pays the bills. Great, right? But if you want to scale, you have to have that system.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you so much for coming on the show today. Any departing wisdom?
Kelly, thank you. I had a great time here. I think for me, it's about working on yourself more than on your job. Working on yourself more than on your business. Because if you don't do that, your business is going to fail at the end of the day because at the end of the day, you're human. And if things are not working inside of you, it's not going to be working outside of you. So that would be my encouragement to all of you.
That is a beautiful illustration of salesmanship is leadership. Thanks again, DK. Thank you so much.
Kelly.
And if you like this video and this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share with others so more crisis-centered leaders have the opportunity to consume this type of valuable content. Before I go, I just want to remind you that you can click on the screen to go to the next business growth videos, and I will see you in the next episode.